Okay. Right. Good morning, guys. George is traveling. It's really awesome to have you. We're now officially recording, and it is Monday, the 30th of November. And you know, there's that joke that they always say when November hits, everybody says, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe it's November." I bet you've all said that somewhere along the line of the last couple of days or the last 30 days. But yeah, Christmas is around the corner. The year is ending, and for those of you who are not ready yet, I need to just tell you all, please, I hope you've all got your 2021 diaries already. I know Lothar's got his. Lothar, you're going to have to share with us one day about your beautiful diary, and your Lothar's diary is just absolutely amazing. And yeah, so guys, we're going to remember to get all our things out and running. Remember, now's the time for us to set the plans for 2021. Please don't wait for New Year's Eve. It's going to be far too late for us to all be doing that. Okay, so I just want to share my screen here quickly with you guys. All right, for those of you who don't work off CoinMarketCap, I work off CoinMarketCap. I do have hit BTC like George does. I've lost a lot of money on hit BTC, so I stay away from it. I prefer to do it the way we're all doing. So CoinMarketCap is telling us this morning that the price of Bitcoin now is 18,529. What I love about CoinMarketCap is if you click on Bitcoin here, it starts bringing up us all the history. There we go, all depending on how fast my internet is working this morning. But there we go. So this here, you can actually look at this from the last day if you wanted to, of what's happening in the cryptocurrency space with regards to Bitcoin. So it gives you just some basic information of what's happening. I mean, we came down from here. It was 17,000 sort of round about 10 o'clock last night, and there it goes all the way up, up, up. And we've hit a high of 18,500, and now we're sitting on, what did I say it was, 18,530. So if you wanted 7 days, you can just click the 7-day schedule and it'll give you the 7-day. Okay, so I'm not going to play the video of Marius Landman this morning. I'm going to give you guys a break from that. Okay, I'm going to give you a break from that because Marius, listening to, if you want to go and listen to his presidential speech, he's speaking a lot on the other cryptos, all your altcoins, and it is fascinating and very interesting, but most of us are focusing here mostly on Bitcoin. And so what I want to do is I want to just go back to basics. There's some people here that are on the group that have never been involved in cryptos really before. And for those of you who've been for a long time, please correct me as I go through this presentation. And it's just nice to always go back to basics. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Michelle van Tonda. I thought George would be able to introduce me, but he hasn't. So Lothar, maybe I'll give you, you can introduce me. How about that? Everybody knows Lothar.
Everybody loves somebody sometimes. Everybody loves somebody now. Well, you have always been a person who is inspiring and a pain in the ass because
Yes.
You are very disciplined and you are seriously taking people from A through B, C, D, all the way to Z or to Z. And you very much come from your heart, but you're also a very diligent learner, presenter, and teacher in various fields. We have known one another, I don't know how many years it goes back when we first met in South Africa. We met in the United States in fact, I shared the bedroom with your sweet husband in Vegas.
You did.
Even before I met you, and even before I had the permission to even share the bedroom, not the bed, but the bedroom. And then I came to know you, and in the company, then we were already involved with Bitcoin, and you really involved yourself heavily. So everyone on this call can very happily listen to your words and to the intelligence behind your words, because how you put things together is quite intriguing, and it has always been inspiring. So off you go.
Thank you, Lothar. I really appreciate it. Yeah. So yeah, I think it was around about 2016 you and I met, and I have been in cryptocurrency since 2014. My story for me getting involved in cryptocurrencies is I got involved and I heard about cryptos around about 2014. I didn't do anything about it. 2015, I then decided to dabble in crypto. And what I did was I took, Anthony's very diligent and he saves money every single month towards certain things. Okay. Remember in the olden days, we used to have our envelopes, and in our envelope system, we would have our petrol money and we would have all this. Well, Anthony has these little accounts that collect everything. And so we have a holiday account. So I went and tapped into the holiday account, went and got involved in cryptocurrencies. I got involved with BitNock. For those of you who know BitNock, I got involved in BitNock. And came I think it was around about the 8th of December 2015, I went in to go and draw all this beautiful money that I had made, and I had lost everything. And then I had to go and tell Anthony that I'd now taken money that I shouldn't have taken, and I got into big trouble. So that was my entry level into the cryptocurrency space. But because of the company that we were involved in, which was Bitcoin mining at the time, well, sorry, it wasn't Bitcoin mining. They moved into Bitcoin mining because a lot of South Africans and a lot of people globally lost a lot of money with BitNock. So that's how I got involved in Bitcoin. I think I bought my first Bitcoin. Well, yeah, in fact, I thought it was very expensive. I thought, yo, this is so expensive. I think it was about $312. And I thought, where am I going to get that? It was like ridiculous. And now if only I knew, I would have actually taken some money out and gone and got the Bitcoin. So that's how I got involved in Bitcoin. So what I want to share, and I've been in before, I live full-time off Bitcoin. I resigned from my job where I used to do a lot of leadership training, traveled extensively. I resigned from that in July 2017, and I've lived off crypto 100% since then. Okay. And so I'm passionate about Bitcoin specifically. I do have the other altcoins. Welcome, George and Tessa. Awesome to have you with us. Travel safe. So yeah. And so I've thoroughly enjoyed the space, and I think it's a very exciting space for all of us to be in. So that's enough about me. What I'm going to do now is just go back to basics for you guys this morning. Let's share screen. Okay. Right. I hope you can see the screen. Oh, something disappeared there. Let's see what has happened here. Yeah, something. There we go. Okay, great. So, guys, we need to understand a lot of people are very skeptical about Bitcoin, but they don't understand where it's actually come from. And we all know way back currency started with the barter system. And I apologize if I'm boring a lot of people, but it is interesting to understand that money has evolved over the years, and this is just a currency evolution. So we used to barter. Some of us still do barter. My husband's a fantastic barter, still right down to today. But then, of course, what happened is that it got a little bit too heavy to carry 3 cows around when you wanted to go and do your shopping to get 7 eggs or whatever it might have been in those days. So the wealthy went and then started saying, okay, we're no longer going to barter. We're going to actually find gold and silver, and we turned it into coins. Then, of course, chests of gold started being pirated and things like that. And people started getting, all the cowboy movies that we started seeing, where money was very hard to move from one place to the other. So the wealthy then said, okay, we're now going to move and put it into a paper format. And so the paper format started coming. And way back, I mean, long before you and I even realized that the credit card came into space. Now, if you're anything like my dad or anything else like that, let's just see what's happening on the chat in case you're not hearing me or something. Okay, need to pop out. Okay, Jenny, great, soon. Okay, so plastic money came. If anybody was moving through these stages, you would have understood that many years ago, people resisted the change of this money evolution all along the line. Okay, so especially it was noticed a lot when the credit card system came in place. So my father, for example, refused to carry a credit card. He said it was the evil of all evils, because it forced you to use money that you actually didn't have. Until he realized that one day he landed at the airport in Cape Town to hire a car, and they refused to let him. He had thousands. My dad used to walk around with thousands of rands in his pockets all the time. And when he realized they wouldn't even let him hire a car because he didn't have a piece of plastic, he realized he had to move with the time, and he had to move with this currency evolution, whether he liked it or whether he didn't like it. Then, of course, came the days, and I remember when I first got my first cell phone, and I thought, yes, I'm never going to get a cell phone. This is for the yuppies. And now every single one of us has got a cell phone. Some of us have got 2 or 3 cell phones. I met a lady who had 7 cell phones once when I was training in government. And I'm like, really, it's just crazy. But she had 7 cell phones. I don't know how she managed to life. But eventually there was a time when cell phones were readily available in South Africa. And we started, a lot of the wealthy, again, started utilizing the cell phone. So you can see the evolution of money has always been over time to actually make life easier for the wealthy, but never really that much easier for the lower income groups. And so what's happened with the beautiful currency, like, for example, where we are now, and Bitcoin has opened a whole new world to everybody. And the reason Bitcoin has opened it to everybody is because, one, most of us have got a cell phone nowadays, but also Bitcoin is easily transferable. And I remember I used to help my domestic before around about 2006, 2007, when I moved up here to Pretoria. I used to help my domestic move her money from here to, I think it was Zimbabwe, her children were. And it cost us an absolute fortune. And I know it cost me a fortune to send money. I actually stopped sending money to my children overseas because it was very, very difficult. And it also cost me more in sending money. And then we did money markets, and there wasn't a money market place nearby them. And then it was trying to do the banks. And it was very, very difficult. With Bitcoin, it's just opened up a whole new game park, and it's as simple as you have a wallet, I have a wallet, and what we do is we just send a long digit code from one side to the other side, and we can actually access our money and then convert it into cash from there. So that's the evolution of money, guys. Whether we like it or not, we're going into the crypto space. If you go onto CoinMarketCap, you will see there's thousands and thousands of new cryptos that are coming on the market. Yes, we've got to be cautious about these cryptos, but at the end of the day, the grandfather of the cryptocurrency is Bitcoin. And so for us that are in Bitcoin now, I think we're really hitting it really good. For the newbies, the first Bitcoin was in actual fact mined in the January 2009, the first Bitcoin. Now, what we do is we don't mine Bitcoins. What we do is we're actually in a situation where we have a wonderful platform that actually goes and trades Bitcoin on our behalf. So we just need to acquire Bitcoin. We don't have to worry about Bitcoin that's being mined. And the reason why Bitcoin, the value of, mining is very good. So let's talk a little bit about the value. Now, the value of Bitcoin is dictated by the supply and demand. And if you look at it, much like coastal properties, for example, let's go to KwaZulu-Natal or even Cape Town, Camps Bay, if you want to do, or right in Umhlanga Rocks, if you wanted to buy a coastal property. Now, the same company, so let's say whatever it is, Stocks and Stocks or whoever builds properties, they can build the exact same specs, same 2-bedroom unit, 1 bathroom, 1 undercover porch, whatever it is, and they take that spec and they place it on a coastal property. And they take that same spec and they put it inland, sort of even maybe 50 kilometers inland. The same company can build it, the same cost it costs to build it. However, when you and I actually want to buy it, because the coastal land is very limited around the world, that property price is much higher on the coast than it is inland. And gold is much like that as well. So what we need to understand is, why is the cryptocurrency price based on that supply and demand, and how does it affect us? Well, currently, only 6.25 Bitcoins are being released every 10 minutes into the Bitcoin economy. Now, this is not Bitcoin that we're talking about that's being traded. This is actually Bitcoin that has been mined. So you've got special machinery that mines the Bitcoins, that solves transactions. And I'll talk a little bit quickly about Bitcoin and blockchain and how that actually involves. But basically, 6.25 Bitcoins have been being released every 10 minutes into the Bitcoin economy. Now, what we need to understand is that by 2140, the last Bitcoin will be mined, and it won't be in one transaction. It's going to be over a lot of transactions. And the reason being is because there's only going to ever be 21 million Bitcoins that will be released. Now, we don't need to panic about that because each Bitcoin is around about 100 million bits, and each bit is called a Satoshi. So don't get, it's like the difference between the Rand and cents. Your Satoshi is your cents, your Bitcoin is your Rand. So basically, your Bitcoin can be broken up into a whole lot of Satoshis. Now, every 4 years, the halving of the Bitcoin happens. In other words, the amount of Bitcoin that gets released gets halved. Okay, so in 2009, there was about 50 Bitcoins that were being released every 10 minutes. Then 4 years later, the 50 Bitcoin was halved. It was then 25 Bitcoins every 10 minutes that were being released. Now, trust me, we made a lot of money when we got into that space and we were doing the 25 Bitcoins every 10 minutes. We were producing Bitcoins. It was absolutely crazy. Then it was around about March 2016, the next halving happened, and we literally saw the amount of Bitcoin that was being produced for us as miners halved, and therefore it ended up being 12.5 Bitcoins that were being produced from the miners into the Bitcoin economy every 10 minutes. And just recently now, I think it was June, July, we had another halving, and it went from 12.5 to 6.25. So currently, 6.25 Bitcoins are being released into the Bitcoin economy. In other words, people can buy from the miners and then they sell it to us to trade. So can you see less and less Bitcoins are being released over that period of time? So it's quite interesting to see in another 4 years, it's going to halve again, and that will be then halved to 3.1 to whatever it is. Okay, for the mathematicians out there and the high melancholies, you can give us the answer. Okay, so it is going to keep reducing, but the beautiful thing about it is that we're in this space. So quickly, what is the difference between Bitcoin and blockchain? Because you hear a lot about blockchain, you hear a lot about Bitcoin. Well, Bitcoin is a way to digitally transfer ownership without a middleman. In other words, I can, let's say, for example, George is selling his car and I want to buy George's car. George and I can negotiate. And George can say to me, look, let's not go through the banks because we're going to pay transaction fees and all the rest of it. I will accept Bitcoin for you. So I can just move, let's say he decides he's going to sell it for 1 Bitcoin. I've got 1 Bitcoin. I move 1 Bitcoin from my Bitcoin wallet to George's Bitcoin wallet. And then George can break it down and bring it in pieces. Remember those Satoshis? He doesn't have to sell the whole Bitcoin as and when he needs it. So basically your Bitcoin is your internet of money. Okay, it's your digital gold. It's very, very powerful space to be in. Whereas the blockchain, on the other hand, the blockchain is the database or the ledger that records ownership through time. It's almost like the internet superhighway. If you want to go into looking at blockchain, there's some really amazing, just type in what is blockchain, or if you want to on the group, we can just upload a few basic blockchain videos, which are really good to understand. But basically, don't get too involved in blockchain, but without blockchain, we won't have the Bitcoin. And then there's a lot of different blockchains for each of the various different cryptocurrencies, altcoins that are out there. Okay. So something is seriously happening around us. And what we need to understand is that the world's biggest banks actually don't have cash. You go and ask your local bank. Now, you've got, let's say, 200,000 Rand sitting in your savings account, and you go into the branch. I challenge you, go into the branch and say to them, I want to draw 100,000 Rand out now. They're going to laugh at you and say, look, please come back, because that branch actually doesn't have your 100,000 Rand. They've got to go and request it and send it, and it's going to take a couple of days. So the scariest thing is that the banks don't really have real cash, okay? And the scary thing about loaning money from the bank is that the bank is actually allowed to lend. Let's say, for example, I want to buy a property. It's 1.4 million Rand. I go to the bank gives me a bond. They've got to take a loan out to pay whoever it is. That bank, because they borrowed the money from the Reserve Bank, just in noughts and zeros, the physical money didn't actually move. It was just moved online, which is cryptocurrency anyway. So the moment you and I went online and started moving doing our EFTs, we all went online. We all went, basically, we just didn't call it crypto, but we were online banking. So basically, we've been working in the same space for a good couple of years right now. And so that bank is allowed to actually loan out that money, that 1.4 million rand, for 10 times to 10 different people, which means they're actually taking 1.4 million that they borrowed from the Reserve Bank, but they can lend it to 10 people. So it shows you there is no cash that's out there. Also, if we look at Facebook, the world's most popular media, creates no content. You and I create all of our content out of. So Facebook, we give Facebook all the information, but Facebook makes a fortune off you and I. And if you look at Alibaba, for example, they've got no retailers, no inventory, but they're a massive, massive corporation that's working online. We all know about Uber, and Uber is one of the largest one, not so much anymore. I think there's a couple of more that are coming out, but just to give you an example, a lot of taxis that are out there, but they own not one vehicle. And the same with Airbnb, the world's largest accommodation provider that owns no real estate. So you see where we're going. We're going into that crypto space in a very big way. And so we need to start educating people that our evolution of money is moving. We're already in that kind of crypto space. When we're doing our EFTs, we're just moving noughts and crosses. The money's physically not sitting in your bank account, but you're allowed to move it anyway. Now we're just utilizing it without actually going through the third party, which is a bank. You and I are now in control of our own destiny. We're in control of our own money, and we're in a situation where we can move it backwards and forwards. So I hope you guys got a lot of questions coming up. It's really good. Okay. This one blows my mind away. I never understand what's the difference between inflation and deflation, because when I blew up my child's swimming tube when she got into the swimming pool, I blew it up. For me, that was inflation. And when I let it down after she was swimming, that was deflation. But hey, it's the opposite way in the economy of money. So inflation, we all know, guys, ladies specifically, we know, and I know this slide is outdated where it's 2013, but we know that what we used to go and buy groceries for, and we're seeing it month on month now, you know, what used to cost us 2,000 Rand in a trolley, we used to pack that trolley full. And I know I had 4 kids at home, and we used to shop 2 trolleys load, and used to cost me just under 1,800 for a month to feed a whole family of 6. I am talking way back in 1996, 98. But now that same 2,000 Rand, literally I can walk up with 2 Woolworths packets. So guys, we can see that inflation is robbing us. Our purchasing power is decreasing. So if you want to stay in the fiat field, you must understand that one, the inflation rate is actually greater than, and if we take just this year, a lot of people have had a cutback in salary. We know for a fact that even if COVID never happened, most people are not going to get a salary increase the same rate of inflation. We know that a lot of people, so if you are not getting a salary increase that matches inflation or is greater than inflation, every single year you're going backwards from a financial perspective. So it makes sense now for you and I to say, hold on, we need to get into a place where it's deflation, protecting yourself from the Federal Reserve. We need to get ourselves into a situation that we're in control of what we can live off. Yes, Bitcoin is very volatile. Yes, it's up and down. But at the end of the day, if you're patient with it and you work with it, I mean, you must know when we were in the 2017s, and it hit right up to the 19,000. The following year, it whacked itself right down to $4,000. Hey, we got a shock. But if you still understand how crypto works, and you understand the monster that it actually is, and you understand that it's going to drop every time there's a high, it's got to come back down, and you're patient with it, then you'll understand that you can actually live with it. And I've been living, like I say, from 2017, my salary every single month comes from crypto. Yes, I've just got to adjust my things when it does drop a little bit. But at the end of the day, don't squander when it is high. Live off your means, live off what you can, because remember, whatever you bring into your bank account, you need to declare to SARS. And so be wise about your declaration. Be wise on how you bring it in. Be wise how you move your cryptocurrency. If you're not sure on how to do it, there's no ways we're prepared to have that kind of conversation on a recorded video, but we're welcome to have it on an unrecorded video. But share with you on ways that we can move it, that we stay above board and we stay legal within the countries that we work in. And please declare, because you don't want to have a lifestyle audit happening to you. All right, for those of you who don't know, There are 3 different ways that you can get Bitcoin. One is buy. You can long-term hold strategy, buy and hold. And that is a long-term strategy. And I would suggest, if this is the way you and I are going, what we need to do is you need to ask people that are holding their Bitcoin right now. They've bought Bitcoin and they're holding. These are the guys that are really poised to help them to understand that we need to grow the Bitcoin, not so much the price, because most guys that are holding Bitcoin right now are in actual fact worried about the price. Have a chat to them. These are the best guys to bring into MTI, because we need to explain to them that it's not so much about the price we're looking at, but the number of Bitcoin that we can actually open up to. So if they've got 1 Bitcoin sitting in a wallet safely waiting for it to hit $100,000, that's fantastic, but sell them the vision. What happens when that happens and you have 2 Bitcoin? Then you've got double the income. And our job is to educate people that it is about acquiring. And it's the same principle. If you went into the property market and you decided that you were going to get into property, you all know, and I know that if I have 1 rental property, I'm going to get good rental for it. If I have 2 rental properties, I'm upping my game. 3 rental properties, 4 rental properties. And basically that's what we want to do, is we want to acquire the amount of Bitcoin that we can grow. What I love about our strategy is that it is, because it's the cryptocurrency space, because we can get into the cryptocurrency space, it is open to everybody. Everybody who can go from $100, $200, start making their money from the $200. Then of course there's trading Bitcoin. We don't trade Bitcoin. It is high risk. Let's leave that to the experts. And that's why we filter through MTI. And then of course the mining, which is sustainable, set it and forget it strategy. Mining is very difficult at the moment, but it is exciting to be in that space. So we're actually in all 3 of these. Some of us are in all 3 of these spaces, and some of us are just in the 2. And I'm going to suggest stick with the safe strategy, acquire Bitcoin, put it into MTI, and then utilize MTI to actually grow the amount of Bitcoin that you have. So that when, even if the price drops, if I had 1 Bitcoin today at 17,000 and the Bitcoin price dropped to half of 7, let's make it 16,000, dropped to 8,000, and I had 1 Bitcoin to start off with it, and then I've got 2, if that should happen, I'm still in the same game. And that's what we need to say to people. Let's safe our bets. Let's make this Bitcoin field that we're in, this portfolio that we're in, let's make it as safe as possible. And the safest possible way is, in actual fact, to grow the amount of Bitcoin that you've got. And MTI is one of those best platforms. Exciting stuff, guys. I just want to prove to you Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are here to stay. Here's plus minus 50 different world case uses of blockchain. Remember, blockchain is the engine. Blockchain is the ledger way where we're actually that we need the blockchain in order to actually have the cryptocurrency. Each cryptocurrency has its own different bitcoins, but your governments are starting to utilize. Most of Australia is actually on blockchain. I think they're on the Ethereum blockchain. I stand to be corrected, but their governments are running off blockchains at the moment and starting to test that. There's a lot of people. Uport is actually running off a digital voters registration that's utilized in Switzerland. That's a blockchain. Mobile payments, Ripple, for example, is one of them that drive that. There's insurances. ARG works off blockchain right now. IBM is working off blockchain. I love the one, is it Mayer Zik, which is your shipping, they work off blockchain. We've got one that I love here is the, I'll tell you now, where is it? I'm just trying to look for it. Border healthcare. There we go. You've got Medric, they're testing the blockchain. So the more these guys are testing blockchains, De Beers tracks their diamonds through blockchain. Obviously, you've got Google's running, Arbiter's running off blockchain, which is your music situations, your fishing is tourism. You know, there's so many things that are running off blockchain. The more people that run blockchain, the more people that are utilizing blockchain, the more successful blockchain is to actually, as we said, keep the ledger of things that are happening, the more the cryptocurrencies are here to stay. And the more the adoption of blockchain happens, the more the utilization of our cryptos happens. So guys, we're in an exciting space. It's not going to go away. people are utilizing the safety of even if you want to buy a property now, there are land registries that you can actually buy property from and let it all run on blockchain. So the scary thing is there's a lot of middlemen that are right now that are going to lose their jobs, and that is sad. So it is you know, a sad thing, but at the end of the day, it is about cryptocurrency space, and I hope you learned something from this. So are there any questions or anything? So I just wanted to go back to basics and say, hey guys, you know what? At the end of the day, it is about understanding that blockchain technology is here to stay, and if we can stay in the cryptocurrency space, that's awesome. Yes, Brendan. You just when I'm gonna.
You did a brilliant job. You did a brilliant job to say to spit in about 6 months of freaking knowledge gathering.
Exactly. In a few minutes. Thank goodness we have recorded it. How's it, Sylvia? Good to have you on board. So guys, it is important for us to understand that when we're talking to people, you know, it's one thing to say, hey, come in and get into the crypto space and save your money in MTI and all the rest of it. But sometimes you just got to ask a person, what do you understand about the crypto space? And that it is actually here. The adoption is happening. You know, we're in over 10 years and nothing's happened over 10 years. So most of your technology that survives the 10-year space moves on. I mean, you think about our parents and that kind of thing. I mean, my dad said there's no ways that he was going to have a credit card. And then there was no ways he was going to use a cell phone. I mean, my dad, when he got his cell phone, used to use it like a walkie-talkie. He would talk like this, and then he would listen. And then he would talk, and he would listen. He didn't understand that he could just do 1 and 2 the same thing. So over time, but he resisted it. And the same thing for you and I. What we don't, human nature, what we don't understand, we will always resist. It's a human nature thing. And you know, at the end of the day, once a person just gets a basic understanding of something as simple as that cryptocurrencies are here to stay. It's not an evil thing. It is an evolution thing, and we need to go into that space. Awesome. Any other questions? Lothar?
Yeah, we have to understand one thing. All the things that you've shared with us seems to be very unique knowledge, something for renegades, for the ones who are daring and caring. What we are realizing now that governments are moving into this space, the Chinese government as #1 government, and they are now introducing the digital yuan, which can be used globally. All governments are going to press the digital euro, dollar, which in the end will be one world currency. We will have one digital currency for all the countries. So the more we learn about this digital blockchain evolution and revolution, we will not be deceived by the governments, because the governments will tell us all the yummy and wonderful things. And I experienced it personally in China. The experience of people who have a point system, a social point system, where they can be regulated, they can be punished, or they can be hailed by receiving a good apartment, what have you. The digital life is upon us, and the more we learn now, we will learn, and this is the point I'm making, the differentiation between centralized digital experience, which the government is enslaving us, and the decentralized, which they are trying to cap, they're trying to cut. They cannot cut Bitcoin, they can cut the intermediaries, the exchanges. And you're going to talk about it. We'll be talking about it, how to best be able to utilize our Bitcoin. In the end, we will end up in a space where you and I will exchange Bitcoin, where we don't need to use any currency or any digital global currency. And so the more we teach and we learn about this space, the better we can fit in the future. Will inevitably be digital.
Awesome. Well said, Lothar. Brendan?
Yeah.
Let's just go, Brendan.
I was going to say, you're quite very quick. It's a nice, useful video. I would like to use this. for basic explanation of Bitcoin. We're quite nice on the infallibility of blockchain technology. A very simple, because you put it in a very nice way to send to people. But maybe if you get another chance to tell it, to do a little presentation like this on blockchain. In other words, for just exactly what makes the links stick together and how they can't be tampered with.
Awesome.
Even though everyone's using different blockchains.
Yes.
But they're different, creating their own ones for their own functions. But it'll be quite a nice video also to have, I think.
I'll post onto the group the really basics on blockchain, because you're quite right in saying that everybody's designing their own blockchain. It's like everybody's designing their own systems to run whatever it is. It's just making it more secure by putting it on blockchain. And Lothar said something quite nicely. It is the difference between centralized and decentralized. Guys, we've been in the digital space since we all went online. Who remembers getting their pay slip, their pay in a little brown envelope? Okay, showing your age. All right, you got a little brown envelope. Yeah, Vilma, I'm coming back to you now. And they deduct your PAYE and all the rest of it off, and we all got our money. We got cash in our hands. And then we went to work one day, and they said, Ian, yeah, we're showing our age, Ian. And then all of a sudden, whether we liked it or not, okay, the banking system brought out a piece of paper, and it was a check. And then we didn't get our cash anymore. We were told, sorry for you, whether you like it or not, here's a check. Then we had to go and stand in a queue to cash our check to go and pay our things. Then we got used to that system, and we were all happy, and we all went and stood in a queue. And then all of a sudden, because the centralized digital age happened, whether we liked it or not, we were told, and I remember working come the 25th of the month, I remember wondering, are they really going to pay me or not? Because they told me they're not issuing checks anymore. I'm just going to get a piece of paper that told me how much I earned, and I then had to go all the way to the bank with my perm book, okay, go and stand in a queue and get them to say, yes, we moved money on internet, which none of us had internet in our houses. None of us had computers in our houses. Those computers were only in the workplace. So we had to believe a system that whether we liked it or not, we were told you have to comply with it. And even if I said, I don't want to, pay me my cash, they said, well, if you don't have a bank account, you don't have a job. So they really controlled the whole system. And whether we liked it or not, we were forced into it. And so we were petrified. Then next minute, you and I got computers. We got internet in our homes. And then we all started paying our bonds and our lights and our water and all the rest of it. And we all started doing EFTs. And then now we're in a situation where we're so used to the centralized digital system, you and I don't survive without it. I mean, I can't even pay a car guard anymore because I don't carry cash. It's like, I'm going to say to the dude, so the one guy said to me the other day, oh, is it Zapper? Oh, we can zap it. I'm like, dude, are you serious? This car guard said I could, whatever, it's that Zapper, I don't have it on my phone, that app that you can move money from it. I'm like, are you serious? Yeah. So guys, even the car guards are going onto a digital system. And now whether we like it or not, we're moving deeper into a crypto digital system now. Okay, it's just got a new name to it. And as Lothar's been saying, the centralized system is going to tap into this because they need to be. But you and I, who understand the decentralized part, will save ourselves some money. I hope that makes sense. So whether we like it or not, and this is what people, and if you share the story of the evolution of money, and go back to people and ask them, how did you feel when you used to get your money in a little brown envelope? And then your company said, we're not going to give that to you anymore. How did that? Wasn't there fear? Wasn't there anxiety? Wasn't there resistance to it? Didn't you go home and bitch like hell to your family? Of course you did. How did you feel when they said they're not even going to give you a check anymore? They're EFTing. Go back to your feelings. Go back to those spaces. Okay, I'm going to give Vilma and then back to Lothar, and then Lothar is going to give us a motivation. So I hope you guys have got some value out of this. Yes, Vilma.
Okay, so first of all, I would like to say, is there anything you cannot present?
Thank you, Vilma, for the compliment.
I find it quite amazing. No matter in which space I hear you speak, there is just such passion, and that passion drives us. I know it drives me, and I hope it's going to drive all of you, because if you don't have passion, that's what we keep on saying. If you don't have passion, you can't go anywhere. And it may be as technical as you like, but if you don't have a passion for something, you're not going to get it. I mean, I'm getting into bloody crypto because of this woman. I mean, you know, do you believe this at my tender age? So yeah, I'm just yeah, I'm willing to learn. I am like sitting here like a sponge, and I really, really, really want to expand on whatever we're going to do.
Awesome. Awesome, Vilma. Thanks a million, you superstar. Great. Okay, guys, so that's the end of the crypto. I hope it was something different. I'm sorry if it wasn't Larius Landman, but it was Michelle van Tonder. But I'm going to hand over to Lothar now. Lothar, let's rock this and share give us some great inspiration so that when we leave this on this Monday, we can go out there fired up. We can go out there saying, how can I change people's lives? So handing over to you, Lothar. Thanks a mil.
Before we go actually over across to Lothar. Lothar, if you don't mind, I'd just like to say something.
Go ahead, Peter.
I think it's very necessary for people also to understand that, you know, whether we're talking about digital and cryptocurrencies, there's two very, very big distinctions between digital and crypto. Crypto is the evolution that comes from digitization. And a lot of people don't understand this. I think it's the same thing, which is not. With a digital world that started, that's what you were talking about and explaining to an extent what the banks were doing. And it was very easy for them to control. But the problem is their systems has gone so old now. That's why it takes so long to basically make one transaction, because they had to be very careful not to duplicate. But with blockchain technology that came in, the duplication part of money was changed, whereby it is impossible literally with blockchain technology and cryptocurrency or cryptography, to be able to actually copy the same thing to different people at the same time. Because that's what the digital world did.
100%.
The digital world, literally, you were able, it's like a photo, you can send it to 20 people at once.
Correct.
But with blockchain technology, you cannot do that.
100.
And a lot of people don't understand the differentiation between blockchain technology and actual digital technology that was used by the banks.
Excellent.
That's just my 50 cents on it.
Excellent. Thank you for that. And that's why I will post the video on blockchain to explain exactly that, because that is vital. That is so important. And that's where the crypto space is just far superior. And if people understand that, and that's why I thought, let's go back to basics. And thank you for that. I really appreciate it. Awesome. Right, Lothar.
I need screen share. And Wilma, you said something wonderful concerning passion. I was in Hong Kong and I was going down the street and I saw the first very passionate beggar. And since in China, people are not really handling cash anymore, he had this big cardboard sign with 2 QR codes so that people could actually pay him in the two currencies that they have in 2 systems within China. So very passionate beggar. So, okay.
Brilliant. And I've allowed you to screen share, Lothar.
Thank you very much. Then I will.
You've got to direct your passion though, hey?
Yes.
All too true.
Yes, indeed. So I will start this and I will take it into the story.
Once upon a time, there was a Chinese farmer who lost a horse, ran away. And all the neighbors came round that evening and said, "That's too bad." And he said, "Maybe." The next day, the horse came back and brought 7 wild horses with it. And all the neighbors came around and said, "Why, that's great, isn't it?" And he said, "Maybe." The next day, his son was attempting to tame one of these horses and was riding it and was thrown and broke his leg. And all the neighbors came round in the evening and said, "Well, that's too bad, isn't it?" And the farmer said, "Maybe." And the next day, the conscription officers came around looking for people for the army, and they rejected his son because he had a broken leg. And all the neighbors came round that evening and said, "Isn't that wonderful?" And he said, "Maybe." The whole process of nature is an integrated process of immense complexity, and it is really impossible to tell whether anything that happens in it is good or bad, because you never know what will be the consequences of the misfortune, or you never know what will be the consequences of good fortune.
And there is a personal story of mine that I would briefly like to share. I can get this out. And His Holiness the Dalai Lama was a guest of mine on a flight from Frankfurt to Germany. I'm sorry, from Germany to India. And I had a few moments with him, and I actually secretly wanted to have a picture with him because that's something incredibly special. And of course, during a flight, we don't do these things. We don't ask for that. You know, to have a personal moment is more than a rare gem. So you don't hassle him for pictures, although he's very open. So I let that one go. And I had no idea, will this opportunity come back? Will it never come back? At least I had the moment with him. So months later, I came from Asia and came back to Frankfurt, and he was in Frankfurt, and he stayed at this hotel. And over here at the sideway is the entrance. And I just came bicycling from my home, passing the hotel here. And I saw that the police was there with the motorbikes, and they were getting ready to pick him up to go places for the event. So I just stopped by, put the bike down, walked over there. It was cordoned off by the police, but his personal bodyguard recognized me from the flight. So I could come to the entrance, and then lo and behold, His Holiness came. And there were a couple of other people there with me, very devoted people who really, really, really wanted to see him and wanted to be touched by him and all that. And so he came down, and he took my hand, he looked in my eyes, and we had a moment, and I actually wanted to have the picture, but there was another person, and then I just passed the opportunity on to this person. So I left. The next day, I just happened to come back again because I was in this other time frame with my body. So I passed by again. I came, oh, he is leaving again for the venue. So I went there again, and with the Dalai Lama is always the ambassador to the country. So the Tibetan ambassador to Germany was there, and he recognized me from the day before. So he scolded me. He said, "You have been here yesterday. You have seen His Holiness yesterday. There are people around the world who will never ever see him. There are people in Tibet who will never ever see him. So who are you to think that you can come a second time to see and take the time of His Holiness?" And I was like, oh my God, what on earth am I doing? His Holiness came, same thing. And he recognized me. He took my hand, and we had this moment. Again, I couldn't take a picture because there's a woman and she had a beautiful gift for His Holiness. So of course I said, please. And then she had this moment of having a picture with him. So I left. The third day I came by again, and I knew he was going back to India, so to the airport. And I just passed by because I listened to the ambassador. But I had to go to the airport myself for a different, because I wanted to buy a ticket to go someplace. So I took the train, and as I came to the airport and I came up the escalator, I happened to come at the entrance of the VIP section of the airport. The gate was still closed, and I was just about to cross the street when those motorbike police guys came, and the big BMW with the Dalai Lama, and next to him, the ambassador. And the ambassador looked out of the window, and he recognized me standing there, and he was waving at me. So that was really funny. And so the gate opened, the car went in, and there was secret police standing there. And I said, oh, I would like to go in to take a picture. And he said, no, you can't. This is a sterile area. And so I showed him my Lufthansa ID, and he said, oh, well, then you can come in. And at the time, the Dalai Lama stepped out of the car, and he loves these policemen who are riding on the motorbikes. So he had a jolly good time with them taking pictures. And after a moment, he was standing all by himself, and he said, anyone else? And I said, me. And I had the opportunity to just stand there, and this is what happened. You see the policeman there, and this was the moment that I had the time, and I could remind him of an experience we had together in the plane. I explained a book to him, and so this is what happens, you know, our decisions, this decision, that decision. And because I let go a couple of times for other people to have the benefit and the pleasure and the holy moment of being with him, and I stepped back, I got the even better moment with him in a secure place. And this is what I want to leave with. We don't know when the moment comes, when the moment hits, and we are the ones to then get the chance to experience our life the way it's meant for us. That's what I want to share with you guys.
Awesome, Lothar. Thank you so much. Anybody else want to add to that? Are we all good?
I
Yes,
suppose, Lothar, if I look at my situation as well, that just suddenly dramatically, okay, it took COVID to change it, but thinking you're going in one direction for 30 years of your life, and you build up only all these. Although it's kind of weird because it's almost like this opportunity has opened up a rebirthing of something that I always had in my mind to do, but it was always out of my reach to do it from a financial point of view. So we've almost taken a 7 month, 8 month, I think it is now, breather. And suddenly I started entertaining this idea of something that was which became so financially out of my reach that I thought would never get there. And it's just interesting how, as you say, a little bit of time and a little bit of patience, and suddenly now I'm sitting with this thing, that the opportunity that has come through mirror trading has opened up so many other avenues. And it's amazing also, besides that, the amounts of people you can help along this journey. And I always put in the back of my mind that every single person that we have introduced into this company, if they have 1,000 Rand, in 6 years' time, if they stay, and if you can keep them motivated, they will all be millionaires. And if I think that I sit with 158 potential millionaires, even if 30 of them make it, what an achievement, a personal achievement. It's, I mean, just each one of us with the downline, every single one of those people, potentially, you've forever been influential in changing their lives, and maybe bringing in these other opportunities that Lothar, you were saying, suddenly something happens, you let it go, and suddenly, boom, an opportunity can happen to somebody that never thought it would ever possibly happen.
Awesome, Brennan. I'm so glad you said that, because I was gonna say, I don't know if I'm ever going to get the opportunity to speak to you guys again. And George, thank you for the opportunity. But you know what? Think about Lothar's story and liken the Dalai Lama to MTI. Sorry, Lothar, forgive me for that.
No, but that's fine. That's exactly the case. I meant to make this point.
Exactly. So how many of your friends you've already spoken to about MTI? Then they withdrew for whatever reason. And let's say it's, Lothar withdrew because there was somebody else that wanted a picture. So they withdrew because of the first load of nonsense that came from the FS, whatever I call them, the SPCA. Those people, the FS, from the SPCA. Okay. So from the SPCA, and then you spoke to them again, and then the SPCA came up again, and then you spoke to them again. So the opportunity is getting greater and greater, and your story, your fact that you're sticking through this, and you can share your growth. And I always say, guys, to the skeptics, show them your dashboard. You know, so what? All you're going to do is say, look, go to the first day that you put money in and go to the last day that you got money in. And if you want to show them withdrawals, that's fine. But you've got growth there. And, you know, Lothar posted something. I'm so tired of this going out there and recruiting. I'm also so tired of it, Lothar. And this is about, and look at Lothar's story again. It was a relationship that he formed on an airplane. Okay, so the connection and the identity was there. The connections after that reinforced the relationship. So guys, please don't force MTR onto anybody, because the opportunity for them to come back to you and say, who's next? Or who can help me? All right, is going to happen so long as you stay consistent. And that's what I got from Lothar's stories, that he stayed consistent. He kept building the relationship. He put others first. It wasn't about, let me get the picture first and then walk away. Lothar would never have had this beautiful story and that beautiful moment if he hadn't sacrificed opportunity for himself for somebody else. And guys, that's all of our prospects are doing the same thing. They're just walking away from the SPCA every time something happens you know, somebody says something ridiculous. So guys, I hope you're encouraged. Go look at your lists again, touch sides with people, wish them Merry Christmas. You know, do that. Don't put your business down on people. Please avoid talking about MTR at any of your Christmas gatherings. If somebody comes and asks you what you're doing, say, thank you so much for asking, but hey, how's it going with you? Prevent yourself from telling them how great MTR is, because the moment you do that, they will walk away saying, not for me, it's for him. Always turn it back to them. And then they're going to say, gosh, you know what? He was more interested in me, or she was more interested in me. Then they're going to go onto your Facebook. They're going to see that you're having a great time. They're going to come back and say, like Joanne, who did a testimony a long time ago, one of the testimonies. Joanne, I've known since probably 2005. I've spoken to Joanne about all my different businesses before. Until MTR came along, I didn't even mention MTR. I just was in the crypto space. I just showed her. She's just been following me on Facebook. And then she phoned me and said to me, how do I get involved in crypto? And I put her into MTR. So guys, people will come to you. Wait for that moment where it's who's next. Okay, so we're 2 minutes to the top of the hour. George, do you want to say anything? Or yeah, I thought so. Cheers, everybody. It's my last time. I'm going to wrap it up with George.
Yeah, no, guys, just from my side, I just want to thank, wait, my mic is on, hey?
You're well, we hear you. Go ahead.
Yes, we hear you good and clear.
Okay. I just want to say from my side, thanks, Michelle, for stepping in, and Lothar for stepping in as well. Guys, it just shows you what type of business we have, what type of people we have. I'm on the road. I'm on my way to Port Elizabeth. I want to go see my grandkids, and we're going to have a little break on the week. But just stepping up, I went to Michelle, I asked her what she do it. I asked Lothar what he do it. Guys, this is the type of stuff we have. And I think on the whole group, we've got a lot of people that's got a lot of information, a lot of nuggets out there that they can share with us. So we're going to start doing this more and more. But thanks, Lothar, for doing that. And thanks, Dr. Michelle, for stepping in for me this morning and doing my live this morning, or the call this morning. I appreciate it a lot, guys. Thank you very much. Awesome,
Pleasure,
guys.
George.
Let's run this week. 100%.
Yeah, let's run. Cheers. Take care. Love you all.
Thanks for having us. Cheers.
Thanks, Lothar. Bye.
Thanks, Michelle.
Cheers, Lothar. Cheers. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Lothar.
Thank you, Doc.
Bye-bye.
Drive safely, George.
Thanks, George. Travel safe, eh?
Yeah, drive safe, George.